Hey there, good morning. My name is Gina Yarrish. I am the founder and CEO of Youre.
Hey there, everybody. Will you look at me? I've got
Hold
two
on a
sets of
second.
glasses on.
Okay, that was kind of weird. I am just reaching out. I know we've had so many new likes this week in the group. That's awesome. We've got a couple of other private groups. One is called Closing Clients Quickly and Making $1 Million in Sales. That's one of our private groups. So if you're in the sales industry, if you sell a product or service for the benefit of others, and you'd like some help crushing your sales and getting over those fears of rejection, attracting the wrong kind of clients, then by all means jump in that group, ask to join. We also have another group for our equine friends, where if you're in the equine horse business, you're a trainer, a psychologist, or a facilitator, then I encourage you. The group is called How to Build Your EAL/Training Business. I get questions all the time about how to do that. So we decided to put a private group together, and oh my goodness, there's like 140 people in there in like 2 weeks. So we did a live training yesterday, which was a lot of fun. I think one thing that I thought would be of value for all of you, even though I work with a lot of professionals, most often professionals need personal help. And, sometimes being positive isn't always easy. I'm trying to remember, hang on a second, how to stay positive when the world around you is falling apart, right? I think a couple of things. The first thing is that you have to really, really strongly focus on your thoughts. So the way that we do this at Yarrish, and we've helped personally with a lot of people, is that, and this, I'll give you a perfect example, a story that happened the other day. I was on a call with a dear friend of mine that I went to high school with. We kind of had lost connections, but she's been following me for some time, and she called and she reached out, and I was like, yay, so many people are afraid to reach out. I promise I won't bite you. In fact, I may shower you with more love than you can imagine. But we had a conversation, and it was interesting because everything that I had talked about was positive. It was fun. It was great. And that doesn't mean that there's not bad things going on around me. Things happen all the time, but I choose, to focus on the positive things. And when there is a problem, I choose to focus on the solution. And many Americans, many people are caught up in the drama. Many people are caught up in complaining about what it is that's going on for whatever reason. Maybe they want sympathy, they want help. And we find that people just don't often are consciously aware of what it is that they need. And so we're our own worst enemy. We make things, worse than what they are. So what you can do in order to stay positive is start thinking from an end result that you'd like to achieve. So and I'll give you an example. The young lady that I was on the phone with the other day, she lives in New Jersey, and she has a regimen, get up in the morning, have your routine, go to work, come home. She's not very happy in her relationship right now that she goes and she takes care of. She's got, a brother that doesn't help her, and it was like, blah, 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 blah. And I totally get it. I mean, I remember the days earlier on before I started practicing all this work and did all this personal development on myself, that I could totally feel her energy come through the phone. And it was literally like a vacuum that was just sucking, life out of me. And I have to put up that barrier. So there's not only, physical barriers, there's, emotional barriers. And I'm sorry that she is where she is, but she's a beautiful woman with amazing talent. And there's nothing to say that life couldn't be better than what it is, but we first have to start with what better looks like. And so you'll see that many times, especially people that once they get into like their mid-30s to their 40s, sometimes it doesn't happen until their 50s, but all of a sudden it's like, wow, they start reflecting back on life and saying, she's like, what have I accomplished? Well, I'm sure that you've accomplished a lot. You may not be able to see it at the moment, but I'm sure you accomplished a lot. But it still goes back to what's an end result that you're looking to achieve. So for this particular gal that I was talking with, unfortunately, divorce seems to be in the makes, and it's really hard to see yourself out of that situation when there's so much trauma and problems going on around you. So we talked about, I said, well, what would an end result be? And she said, well, be divorced. And I was like, well, let's look at it in a positive sense, right? Because, yes, even though that's something that you've achieved, that's still not, you're going to be, I am divorced, but that's not the life that you want to live. And so it literally took her about 15 or 20 minutes of me asking the same question, probably in, 6 or 7 different ways before she finally got it. And so she's like, wait a minute, I'm single. I'm not divorced. I'm single. Oh, I get it. And it was like this light bulb went off. And so what would life look like if you were single? And then all of a sudden it was like the floodgates opened up and she can start to see life in a new way. And there's a result that you're looking to achieve. And so she started writing down all the beautiful things that she'd like to do and the life that she was going to live. And now, once you have all of that written down, and I encourage you, don't just think it, you have to write it down. Carrie, my love, I see you here. You know this. You know all of this. You have to write it down. And as soon as you write it down, now you could say, okay, every decision I make, am I moving forward in the direction of what it is that I'm doing? Right? And so it gives life more meaning. It gives it purpose. It's what motivates you and gets you up in the morning. You have to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going in life, think of it this way. Let me give you a metaphor. You decided that you're going to take a cruise and you're leaving out of the New York harbor, right? Well, you're taking a boat out in the ocean, let's say that. And you get out into the Atlantic Ocean, and the plan was, or what you thought was the plan, that you were going to go to Ireland. But all of the chaos began to happen, and now the boat is stuck out at sea. And this is why people feel like there's an emptiness inside of them sometimes, is because they're just kind of stuck out in sea. There's no direction as to where they're going. And it's, people think they have to set goals, for business or something, but you set goals for life. You set them. If anyone, if you haven't gotten my book, Harness Your Purpose, Power, and Peace, the first chapter, we talk about, don't judge yourself, but what is it that you want from life? What is it that you want to do? I remember, again, when I started this work, one of the things that I wanted to do was write a #1 bestseller. And when I wrote it down, I was like, no way, who are you? You sucked at English in school. I mean, you ask anybody in my family, they'll tell you English was my worst subject. So write down the things that you would absolutely love to do. And then just start taking one step at a time. Remember, what your mind can think, your eyes will begin to find, and you'll begin to talk and see, and things in life will begin to evolve in a whole new direction. But you first have to start with thinking. Take the time it takes. It'll take less time. Everyone is so busy living, a fast-paced life. Or if you have the time to think, the question is that are you being constructive about what it is that you're thinking about? And so, imposing questions for yourself is a good place to start. So if I don't want this that's happening in my life, then what is it that I do want? And then if that's what you want from life, well, then here's the, a lot of people say, I'm going to do a vision board, and, it doesn't work. And here's the reason why it doesn't work. Okay. We create a vision board. We can see a future for ourselves, but then think of this. What if you had stepped into that future life? What would it feel like? How would you be spending your time? So we create the board, right? So say, for instance, one of our goals is to have 1,000 clients come through our Mastering Sales program this year, because it's an online platform. And we also are going to be starting back up and doing our in-person platforms in smaller groups, but I think in April is our first workshop, or May is our first workshop. So, we want 1,000 people to come through the Mastering Sales program this year. Now, what will happen if we had 1,000 people come through the Mastering Salesperson? Oh my God. Well, my team will evolve much bigger, which makes me really excited. And so the life that I would be living at that point, I'd probably be going on another 30-day vacation. But that's what gets me excited. And so I stay focused on serving people and helping people. And as long as I continue to serve and help people, well, then God rewards me and money comes easily. And I keep my eyes on the positive things that are happening. When the bad things happen, focus on the solution. Don't get caught up in the drama. Well, I thought I'd come live for a little bit and say hi to everybody. And it's Friday. It's a beautiful day. The sun's not shining, but the snow looks gorgeous outside. Do you guys have any questions for me? I love questions, folks. It helps the conversation. Hi, Roland. I don't know that we've met yet. Thanks for coming and joining. Where are you from? Leslie, I know where you're from. Hey, girl. Well, if no one has questions for me this morning, feel free. If there's something that I've talked about that when I end the Zoom call, you happen to say, hey, wait a minute, I should have asked this question, then by all means, just post it below. I'll be happy to jump back on later and answer some questions. But it's Friday. So Monday through Friday, we work our butts off. And now it's playtime. And so the weekend, you have to play really hard. Don't forget to play hard. Playing hard is important. When you play hard over the weekend, then it helps rejuvenate you and get focused again. Hey, Lisa. I was just about ready to sign off. It's good to see you here. Hope you're feeling better. And nobody has questions for me today. But anyway, welcome to my office. And welcome to Friday. All right, guys. I'll talk again soon. Bye. Carrie girl, keep smiling.